take this story with a grain of salt. Special shout out to Case Study QB. Because BSD&C had a very interesting conversation talking about America's fastest growing demographic group, and that is billionaires. Now, I don't know if any of us will become billionaires anytime soon, but of course, they even talk about how since the election, billionaires have grown in influence with money and power and connection to politicians. And I'm surprised this was kind of aired. Now, again, this is BSD&C, so none of this is going to be earth-shattering. But this conversation, no one can deny it, especially with how these insurance companies, these corporations are more or less putting us in the grinder, and we're starting to push back. So let's go ahead and pull up this first video about the growing population of billionaires. That's right. You get to become a billionaire, and you get to become a billionaire. Oh, wait, no, you got to be born into it. Sorry about that, folks. You got to be born into it.
The fastest growing demographic group in America is not seniors. It's not Latins. It's billionaires. We had 500 billionaires 10 years ago. We now have 2,500. So if you want to cram more and more wealth into a smaller group of people, we're on our way. And the weird thing about America is that we support it because our superpower is our optimism. The Achilles heel is that 99%, the bottom 99% who are getting screwed, don't mind these policies because they believe at some point they're going to be in that 1%.
And no, you won't. No, you won't. And sometimes, folks, those that make themselves look like millionaires, I know, or billionaires, it's a lie. Now, with billionaires, okay, yeah, there are people who be billionaires, but like in this day and age of social media, please don't let these Instagram or Facebook posts or X posts or whatever, I was going to say X files, X posts diminish you or make you feel bad. A lot of that stuff you're seeing is fake. A lot of that stuff is projection. A lot of that stuff isn't real. You're doing just fine, but we all got to wake up to reality. This billionaire club, well, they don't want anybody else in it. It's a decrepit club, all right? It's like the Habsburgs. If you don't know who they are, they were a very inbred royal family, which is why no one, if you ever hear anyone say, I'm related to royalty, one, they're lying, or two, they come from very bad genetic stock. Look up the Habsburgs. You'll see some imagery that will shock and frighten you.
But where are we? We're in a country that's had unprecedented prosperity, but similar to the way William Gibson described the future, it has not been evenly distributed. When 40% of U.S. households are struggling with some sort of medical or dental debt, when a quarter or 20% of households with kids are food insecure, and yet we have one man, Jensen Huang, and I like Jensen, who is now worth more than Boeing. I mean, something is wrong here.
Apologies. Hold on. Sorry about that, folks. I hit the wrong button here. But also, we talk about the oligarchy. Again, shout out to Case Study QB for finding these gems.
The greatest trade of 2024. It wasn't Bitcoin. It wasn't NVIDIA. It was Elon Musk investing $250 million directly in the Trump campaign. And then when Trump won since the election, Elon Musk's worth has gone up $140 billion. So that's effectively, I believe, about a 56,000% return on investment. So we've gone full kleptocracy. We can never, in my opinion, wave our finger at Russia again when the president, the elected president, is taking public trust and public authority and weaponizing governments and doling out capital and market share and contracts and threatening to use regulatory action against the competitors who don't give money to his inaugural committee or don't kind of bend the knee. We are effectively in a kleptocracy. Russia is the role model. We are becoming more like Russia every day. That's where we are.
So all those people screaming about Russiagate. I mean, come on, folks. But this is how the system is. It's always been corrupt. I mean, you could buy a politician. So anybody who's surprised, especially with Trump siding with Elon and Vivek, I mean, Elon gave him money to his campaign. And I mean, a lot of money. So that was an investment. And Elon is going to make out like a bandit. I mean, that's why he's staying at Mar-a-Lago. I mean, he's there now. That's the thing. When you're a politician, you take that corporate money. Oh, you ain't free. You got them chains around you. They're golden chains and they're nice and soft, but oh, you got to work for your billionaire donors. I mean, owners. You're not going to dare fight for your people. I mean, look what's happening to the people of LA County. Think their politicians are looking after them? No. Case in point and examples: East Palestine, Ohio, Flint, Michigan. All the communities devastated in North and South Carolina, Georgia, and Florida from the hurricanes in 2024. People of Lahaina in Hawaii. They ain't going to help you. Why would they help you? But hold on. The fact that this was also aired, this also surprised me. Talk about breaking up Google and Meta. This is the last time this guy's going to show up on air, maybe.
And we don't need more mergers and acquisitions. We need more breakups. One company owns 2/3 of all social media globally. Meta. One company has 93% of all share of all search. Google. And if you don't think every day we don't pay higher prices, one company has 50% of all e-commerce. Amazon. The percentage of revenues that have gone to Amazon from third-party retailers has gone up from 24 to 50%. Look at the rents that parents are paying on Facebook when 24% of teen girls are now addicted to Facebook. 6% of our teenagers are clinically addicted to drugs and alcohol. 24% are addicted to Instagram. And the number of teen girls self-harming has doubled. So if you want higher rents as a consumer, as a retailer, and as a parent, that's where we're headed.
And if you think these corporations are going to have your best interests at heart, you're gravely mistaken. And I want to just address this too, because there is a problem. And I know millennials are my generation. You know, we definitely got connected a lot with the internet. But hey, boomers, Gen Xers, you're part of that too. But see, the thing is, our three generations will be the last ones that remember a time before the internet, before it became what it is now. And Gen Z, and now eventually Gen Alpha, they are going to be connected into this, and they're not going to know anything else about a better time or the idea of better time or the concept of actually, like, you know, owning a house, reaching these milestones, going to college, living your best life, going on adventures, you know, doing things, socializing, because we're all stuck now. We're all depressed because of these machines, because of social media. Social media has made us antisocial. Due Dissidents brought it up on yesterday's live stream, and I want to give a huge shout out for Russell for breaking it down. He did a fantastic job. You have key aspects of human nature being cut out of us. You know, at the end of the day, while we are a self-aware species, because yes, we will all one day die. That is an inevitable truth. Okay. We don't know when our number is up, but we're here and then we're gone. We're born here, but we are an animal nonetheless. And the one thing that defines humans is that Homo sapiens sapiens, from the long line of hominids, also related to the great apes too, we are social creatures. It's how we survived the Ice Age. It's how we outmaneuvered the Neanderthals. It's how we were able to do things and build societies and camps and cities and city-states, nations, empires, social creatures. And yes, I know empires being violent. I get it. But it's what we have done. This is how we communicate. This is how we explore our world and evolve and adapt. And yes, the advancements of technology has improved our lives, but in turn, by opening up that Pandora's box, and I'm not trying to sound like somebody who's anti-tech, because with technology, we do need it. All right. It is inevitable. But with the technology, especially with Instagram, social media, all of it, it's become an addiction, and people are stuck into that world to where the next generation are going to lose on key aspects of communicating with each other. All the while we're losing the aspect of communicating with each other, the top 1%, well, they're dancing off with their pants off as they're getting richer, raising the rent, and keeping us in a subservient statehood. We'll be lower than peasants in the Middle Age, from the Middle Ages, from the Dark Ages. We'll be lower than them. Yes, we'll have technology, but are we free? Living in a company town, earning the company buck, addicted to social media, listening to the influencers telling us how to live. And again, Everything that you see on Instagram and Facebook and all those other social media platforms are fake. It's fake. Don't believe it. If you see that beautiful Instagram model and she's in Dubai, remember, Dubai is not a cheap trip. There's always a cost to it. I won't say what the cost is because you don't want to get canceled. But if you do look into it, don't yell at me. There you go. Just throwing it out there. But there is a lot of inequality. I want to leave this with a final note here because I want to give a huge shout out again to Case Study QB. He's doing phenomenal work. And that is, I want to read this quote here. We risk revolution. Oh, and that can happen. That can happen. Whether it's CEOs being murdered in the streets, we are in the midst of a series of small revolutions to correct income inequality. I don't know if this guy's ever going to be allowed to be back on air, but hey, BSDNC, everyone here at Independent Media was screaming about this 8 years ago.
Once you get above a certain level of wealth, you get no incremental happiness. So why on earth would you not go back to a tax policy of the 60s, 70s, and 80s, where say above, pick a big number, 10 million, you actually pay more than 10%, maybe more than 20%, maybe more than 50%, because the difference between 30,000 a year for a household and 50,000 is enormous to the well-being of that household. Low-income kids in low-income households have higher resting blood pressure, but the difference between making 10 million a year and 15 million a year offers you no happiness. But these individuals have weaponized government, and we risk revolution, whether it's CEOs being murdered in the street, whether it's a Me Too movement that had righteous components of it, or Black Lives Matter. What?
Now, again, Me Too and BLM, they are no longer what they once were, probably never were that at all. Me Too got co-opted. Same thing with BLM. Okay. As soon as the Democrats put their little claws in it, then the donors come in and, it doesn't become what it says it becomes.
And we risk revolution, whether it's CEOs being murdered in the street, whether it's a Me Too movement that had righteous components of it, or Black Lives Matter. What are these movements? They are targeting the wealthy. We are in the midst of a series of small revolutions to correct income inequality. And the reason we put an insurrectionist and a rapist in office is because for the first time in our nation's history, a 30-year-old man or woman isn't doing as well as his or her parents were at 30. Why? Because the majority of households are having the oxygen sucked out of the room, such that a small number of individuals and a small number of companies can be worth more than nation states. Income inequality is out of control. Our tax policy has gone full oligarch.
And there's a producer yelling at somebody saying, "Don't ever put that guy back on air again." Is he wrong? No. Do you think anyone at BSDNC is going to listen? No. Because no one's watching BSDNC anymore. But corporate media, as an institution, helped create this environment. And oh, wait, hold on. Let's actually talk about some problems here. The next generation, are they going to do better than their grandparents or parents? No, probably not. If the economy remains as is, I mean, look, we're due for a big explosion. Okay, the economy can only be bailed out so often. You think they fixed what happened in 2008? Oh, no. They just kicked that can down the road. I know there's a lot of people saying, oh, well, now that Trump's in office, we'll have a good economy again. Are you sure? Are you sure about that? You know, you could hope in one hand and crap in the other and see which one fills up faster. It's going to be the crap, okay? Sorry. Hope it is an illusion right now. It is a true illusion of the highest order, and it's a sickness. If we don't improve ourselves, if we don't try and get out of this nightmare, there is no pathway to recovery. And the thing is, it just might be that way. Maybe this is a foregone conclusion. You know, you got Trump talking about manifest destiny, trying to annex Canada, Greenland, and get the Panama Canal. Whether he does that is up in the air. But he didn't run on that for 2024. There was no manifest destiny of getting all that territory. Yes, we could laugh at it. Like, I find it funny. I do. But then again, I raise an eyebrow and I say, excuse me. Why do we need to do that? Shouldn't be focused on the economy and ending these wars. But these oligarchs, they don't think about the long game. They only think about short-term profits because they're not happy, because they're not happy people, because they're sad people, because they're depressed people, they're psychotic people. They own everything, and it's still not enough for them. And yet we get nothing, and we have to live under them. Wake up to reality. The 99% of the population here in this country, you will not be part of that billionaire club. And people are going to get angry. You think Luigi, what happened in December, was just a blip on the radar? No. No, that's a sign of things to come. That's a sign of things to happen. That's a sign of things that will go down. If you aren't aware of it, you need to be aware of it now. That's why I encourage all of you to please be safe out there. But also, don't be surprised when you see people snap and go werewolf. We saw what happened to State Farm. I mean, they denied fire coverage months before this fire was happening. And now all these people, these homeowners, they have nothing. Nothing to rely on. Then, of course, you got the healthcare insurance industry doing what it's doing. You got the banks and corporations playing their games, and then you got the politicians pretending to care. Tell me, how is it that a normal person won't snap or go crazy? You do everything, and it's still not enough. So, MSNBC, that's what was said there isn't anything new. I mean, so many other intellectuals, commentators, activists, organizers have been giving this warning 2 years ago, 4 years ago, 6 years ago, 8 years ago, 10 years ago, and infinitum. But we're here now. Never say it can't happen here. History has this thing of doing the rhythm and rhyme of repeating itself.